Some people claim that Elections Canada was the institution that was in fact identified, somehow had given advance warning to a political party, or somehow was in cahoots with the media to make sure that this particular action would be noticed. I'm sure that after those allegations were made, you would have done an internal review or tried to determine if in fact there was a leak from your organization. I'm wondering if in fact you did that, and if in fact you uncovered any effort from Elections Canada to give a political party some advantage in that proceeding.
I must say that any allegation of this nature is very troubling for an institution like Elections Canada, whose anchor on the whole notion of impartiality. I did ask for a review within the organization as to who was, what are the events that took place, who had the information, and whether there was any reason to believe that there had been what was been referred to as a tip or a leak. And the conclusion is that I have no reason to believe that there was any release of information prior to the procedure taking place.
An email exchange obtained through access to information shows that Elections Canada was totally preoccupied with the widespread public belief that the agency had leaked its planned visit to the Conservative headquarters. Mr. Mayrand, you wrote in an April 18th email to Ms. Vesna, quote, "This may be a pure diversion tactic, competitive frustration from a media outlet vis-a-vis another," end quote. Now, blaming the media aside, the email shows that you and Ms. Vesna referred to the leak, the emails show that you referred to the leak 7 times. Obviously, you took this concern very seriously. So I'd like to know who exactly conducted the internal review which you mentioned earlier.
People responsible for the various programs in the organization.
And what are their names?
Mainly myself.
So you did it, okay.
My Director of Communication and Commissioner's Office.
Okay, so can you share with us all of the notes from that investigation, please?
Yes.
How many people were aware in advance of the planned headquarters visit?
So,
how many people were aware in advance of the planned headquarters visit?
You mean of the search?
Yes.
There were 3 people at Elections Canada.
They were the only 3 that knew at Elections Canada?
Outside of the Commissioner's Office, yes.
And who were they?
Myself, the Deputy Chief Electoral Officer, and the Director of Communications.
And so you all investigated yourselves in connection with this alleged leak?
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess I'm satisfied that I did not. I don't know, unless there's other information that suggests the link to Elections Canada, which I would very much like to look.
Would you propose
emails that you have cited, or the material that you have cited, there was a real concern at Elections Canada about anything of that nature, given yes. the importance we attach to our independence, impartiality, and fairness.
Did you investigate? Did you question all the members of the Commissioner's Office who were aware of the search?
Only question the Senior Director of the Commissioner's Office.
So is that a no?
I only question the Senior Director of the Commissioner's Office.
Were there others in his office that were aware of the search?
Well, the people that participated in the operation.
And you did not ask them?
No.
Okay, so your investigation is not complete.
I just want to point out that there was never an investigation. There were some allegations put out in the media about a possible leak. All I did is I went through the process that was followed, the sequence of events, and after doing that exercise, I came to the conclusion that there was no reason to believe, in my opinion, that there was any leak coming out of Elections Canada.
Well, in addition to the fact that your senior personnel investigated themselves, we now know that there are some in the election commissioner's office who were aware of the search but have not been questioned about the leak. Why did your communications director have to know about the search in advance?
Because in all those operations, there's always coordination with the RCMP, who were assisting in the operation, and the media officials from both organizations were briefed.
So you knew that it would be a media-related event from the outset?
That's something that is simply a cautionary precaution that you take when you carry these type of operations.
And I know that media has been a great preoccupation for you in your office. In an April 16th email from Ms. Vezina to yourself, she indicates that the negative news coverage that the office visit was causing for the Conservative Party was great. I quote her. She said, quote, "Most are going against the party." She's referring to the media. End quote. Then she says, "But we seem to be coming out positively on most counts." The email demonstrates that Elections Canada was, and the whole series of emails around it, which are available now through ATI, demonstrate that Elections Canada was totally preoccupied with causing negative news coverage for a political party and positive news coverage for itself. Is it the role of a supposedly non-partisan agency to concern itself with generating negative news coverage for one political party?
Always, sir. Always. Always. I would never want to generate any coverage, negative coverage, out of actions of Elections Canada for any party, any candidate, any agents.
I'm not sure.
Any circumstances that question the actions of Elections Canada in that regard compromise its impartiality, its independence, and is always of great concern to the organization.
Right. And Elections Canada, as you have stated, should be an independent body, yet internal correspondence indicates, with respect to media, you produce talking points, you fret over negative versus positive media coverage for one of the political parties. When Canadians see comments like that from Ms. Vezina, quote, "Most are going against the party," in her assessment of the media fallout from your search of the Conservative headquarters, can you not understand why some Canadians might look at those sorts of comments that you and your colleague exchanged by email and question whether the headquarters search was more about public relations and less about law enforcement?
Two things. I think those emails revealed a concern about the perception of Elections Canada as not being as independent and as impartial as it should be. As to whether it display concerns about law enforcement, again, I think we're simply carrying out the responsibilities that vested with the Commissioner under the legislation.
Can you confirm, as you stated on page 11 of your statement, given the quote, "Given the arm's length relationship that I seek to maintain with the Commissioner, I am not in a position to answer questions that are within his scope of investigation." Can you confirm that you have never interfered with the Commissioner's investigation in this regard?
Absolutely.
You've never been involved in any way, shape, or form since referring it to him?
Could you provide more explanation to your question?
The question is very simple. Have you been involved in any way in guiding the investigation?
I've not been involved in any way in guiding the investigation.
Have you written him about the investigation?
I have not written him about the investigation.
Has he spoken to you about it?
3 days before the operation, I got a debrief from the Commissioner.
He indicated to you that this search was going ahead at that time?
Mm-hmm.
And did you give him your support for that?
Not really.
So you did not support the search?
Because I must say, and I'm pretty sure the Commissioner would attest to that, we had a difficult conversation, not regarding the steps being taken, but the timing of the investigation and the process.
That's interesting.
I was someone who was rather not very happy about finding out that an operation would be conducted on the eve of the civil case proceeding. I'm responsible for the civil proceeding. He's responsible for the criminal aspect. And I was not too enthused about the approach.
Why is that?
But again, out of this arm's length relationship, I did not direct him to change anything.
Why did you think the timing was bad and inappropriate?
Well, I didn't think it was very appropriate to do that again on the day before the cross-examination in the civil case would start.
So do you think Canadians would be concerned to find out that not only do we as a Conservative Party think that the timing was suspect, but you as the head of the Chief Electoral Officer has said the timing of this search was inappropriate?
From my point of view,
yes.
I would have preferred, if I had a choice, I would have preferred to have it way before or sometime after, not on the eve of the civil court.
But it was a fortuitous coincidence that it was the eve before and did push off the question.
Absolutely.
So you did find that fortuitous?
Sorry?
You did find that fortuitous?
Yes, absolutely, because again, we're running two separate operations, distinct, and we don't share information among the two entities.